So you're going to need a few bits. The first bit you'll need is a darning needle, and you'll see the one that I have here. I use one with a sharp pointy end. There's also going to be a wire that you use to make the tentacle nice and bendy. Hansi suggested using a pipe cleaner, but I actually ran out. And also a piece of foam that I'm going to use to wrap around the wire just to give the tentacle some volume. Finally, here's the tentacle itself. The wire will kind of hook into the tip. Okay, horrible video skills. But anyways, so you can see here's the top of the tentacle, and it has pink suckers, and the fabric itself is kind of purple. And here I'll grab a finished one so you can sort of see what the end product should look like, and it has like a whole bunch of little suckers. So you start by taking the little bent bit and holding it next to the tip of the tentacle and wrapping the yarn around to hold the wire in place. I actually had a video of this, but it went way off screen. But you can see how I'm kind of doing it here. I'm wrapping the yarn around the wire, and here I'm twisting the wire, and this time it's to hold the yarn in place. So I should probably apologize right now for the video. This is my first time making a movie and my first time using iMovie. It's pretty cool, but I don't know, learning curve. So next up is to wrap the wire, otherwise you're gonna really feel it inside the tentacle. So I double up the end just to give this little bit a little more volume to match the yarn that was wrapped around the tip. Hold it in place. It can be a little tricky, you can use tape if you want, but just fiddle around a bit. Bend it over, and then once you have it sort of in place, you start wrapping the wire. And you wrap and wrap until you wrap to the end. And this is where I tried out some of the interesting iMovie effects. It's a little corny, but I'll keep it in for now. Anyways, so once we're at the end, you fold over the bit just to hold the foam in place. And because I hate wasting yarn, I always have some long ends left from the main color, and I'll use these to wrap around the foam just to hold it in place. So if you look at it, you can see the lines, the diagonal lines where the foam was wrapped. I wrapped the string in the opposite direction, and you can see me doing it here. And now we've wrapped to the end, so I open the wire a bit, take the yarn, wrap it inside, and then fold the wire again to hold both the foam and now the yarn in place. And there you go, our wrapped tentacle. And so next up is the actually more tricky and tedious part. So we have the wrap bit and we have the tentacle. So first we want to find the shorter of the two long tails from the suckers. I always leave plenty, about 3 times the length of the tentacle. But anyways, when you find the shorter end, thread it through your darning needle, and then it's time to start sewing the sucker up. So before we do this thing, you want to familiarize yourself with the tentacle again. So you have the fabric, which is on the bottom, and we have the foam wrapped wire, which is on top. If you just kind of lay it out, this is how it will lie inside the tentacle itself. Let's take a closer look at the tip. You can see where it all comes together. What's on top is the cast off edge. So on the cast off edge, you have the V's, and on this side we'll be picking up 2 of these V's, or at least we'll be putting the darning needle under the 2 stitches. And you can see right below them are the purl bumps. Now if we flip this over, this is the cast on edge, and you can see the purl bumps are here. And on this side we're just going to pick up 1 stitch. It's so that the underside of the tentacle doesn't become too thick. And now we're going to begin. So get a really good grip, sort out all of the strings, you don't want them to get in your way, and let's pick a purl bump on the cast off side to start with and thread the yarn through. You can see the purl bump here, so we follow it, and note how we go under both arms of the cast off stitch. Oh, check out that nail polish. Now we do the same on the opposite side, except we only want the needle to go through one arm of the cast on stitch. But same as before, we follow the purl bumps. We thread the needle through, then back to this side. We pass it under 2 arms. You can sort of see it there. So this is the one that we stitched through last time, and we stitch alternating bumps. So then we skip one, and then we stick the needle through at the beginning of the next purl bump, which is purl bump number 3. So we've now pulled the rest of the yarn through. Here's the other side of the purl bump. Put the needle under 2 stitches, pull it through, and then we find the matching stitch on the other side. So on the other side we also use every other purl bump. And again, we only thread the needle through 1 arm of the cast on stitch. Rinse and repeat. So just remember, so if you're holding the tentacle and the foam bit like this, when you're threading the needle through the bottom edge, you always want to stick your needle through 2 arms of the edge. And when you go to make the corresponding stitch on the other side, you thread your needle through 1 arm. So I always do a few kind of loosely, and then here is where I take and pull it tight. And it's really cool because the tentacle at this point kind of curls up. It starts looking like a real tentacle. Here again, you can see a bunch of looser stitches, and then whammo, we pull them all tight and watch the sucker curl in. A good lesson to learn from making this video is, if I want to make any more knitting videos in the future, I should probably use lighter colored yarn. And here we are, sewing up the last few stitches of the tentacle. It actually gets easier as you get to the top because the fabric is wider and you can actually hold them together as you're stitching through. To finish it off, just randomly sew some stitches across the gap. Sew through the yarn if you can, just to help lock it all in place. So here you go, the almost finished tentacle. As you can see, there are purl bump ridges on both sides. So what you actually see are the purl bumps that we did not sew. So you can actually stop at this point, but I like the purl bumps to be more pronounced, and that's what I use the second tail for. Now you actually want to make sure the yarn hasn't unraveled. If it has, the bumps it'll make will be kind of flat and spread out, which sucks. So twist it up again, and even over twist it if you can. So this time we're actually going to follow the protruding purl bumps, which are the bumps that we did not sew last time. The first few are always kind of hard because there's a lot of yarn up there, and so it's pretty tight. Yep, definitely need to use the lighter yarn next time. And now we pull the yarn through. I actually pulled this one kind of tight, but it's the tip of the tentacle and you usually don't see them anyways. We'll pull them less tight for the future suckers. So here's the other side of the purl bump, and you stick your needle through. So it's still tight at this point, just take it easy, try not to stab yourself. pull this one until it's just about tight enough. You can see it's sticking out there. Now, if you pull it too tight, you can see the bump completely disappears. So here we'll just pull it out a little bit again. And just like before, we find the other end and also the matching pearl bump, and then we just jab the needle through. And same as before, you find the two pearl bumps that you want to match up. And so you'll notice that the bumps are pretty well defined, and this is actually because the yarn is over twisted. Now another thing you can do to make the sucker stand out, and which is what I've done with previous octopi, is just to emboss the protruding tentacles instead of loosely sewing around them as I'm doing here. But that actually takes a lot more time, and if you want to do this, you have to leave a lot more yarn too. And now we're getting to the end of the tentacle, and yep, I'm running out of yarn, and this is probably why you always want to give yourself some extra space. Fortunately, these tentacles, or these stitches that I'm doing now, aren't structural, so if I actually did run out, it really wouldn't matter too much. And there you go. There is your tentacle. My name is Jen. I'm also known as Liso on Ravelry, and who knows, maybe I'll make more videos in the future. Leave a comment and let me know what you think.